Hi, welcome back to Everything I've Never Said. This is Lakshita, and by the way, can you hear the rain behind me? Moving on, today I'm going to be talking about something really cool I saw on the internet. So it's basically a concept 16 things I learned at 16. I just turned 16, and I'm going to be talking about all of the stuff that I realized or learned at very random, unexpected moments in my life that I feel like every time I need it, it helps me. However, I'll put the first eight things in this part and the latter half of everything I learned in the episode next week because otherwise it's going to be all too long. Just a disclaimer thing. As I mentioned before, I just turned 16, so I feel like my life hasn't actually properly begun yet because I have not stepped out of school yet. Have never lived alone. I don't really think that I've been in anything but a protected environment. But I do feel like my opinions on a lot of these things will change. So nothing is like an ultimatum. It's just some fun little stuff I realized. The first being people do not contemplate about topics related to you as much as you think they do. Well, how do I explain this? I feel like when I look at a picture of myself before and I'm planning to post it, I'll think so much before I do it. I'll find every single flaw in it. I'll see how many things can possibly be wrong with it. And I spend like a lot of time doing that. I think most people do that. It's not just a thing that I do. When I'm like saying something or making a joke, I'm like constantly thinking if it's actually funny, if I should actually say it, what if I'm unfunny, what if this sounds so pretentious and stupid. I realized this like very randomly when I was 13 on a random afternoon. That when I look at a picture somebody posted, and let's just say it's not a great picture, like I don't personally find it as great, I think about it for 5 seconds at most, and that is like an exaggeration. I do not really think about something unfunny somebody said for longer than 2 seconds, and my opinion of them doesn't change because of one bad joke they made, or one weird picture they posted, or anything stupid that they did. You know, I feel like people have so many other things to worry about, especially the things related to themselves. Even when you're at a party, you feel like everyone's judging you, but in reality, everybody's just focused on how they look, or how they'll socialize, or interact with people. And so are you. You're also worried about how you look. Even if you don't like the way somebody's acting somewhere, or behaving somewhere, or anything really, you think about it for some time and then you forget it because you have so much of your own to do and you just move on with your own life. Which is living proof of the fact that other people don't do this either. I mean, there are people who constantly try to find flaws in people, try to belittle them, or just make their self image worse, but that's really weighing on their part. And most people are not like that. So even if you're scared that something you're saying is unfunny or a picture or you find like a little flaw in some picture you wanted to post, just go for it because it doesn't matter. I have done that like countless number of times, and for all I know, people's opinion of me still remain the same. So it doesn't really matter because these are all little things. The second thing that I learned was again like it's kind of an augmented version of what I just said. People do not view you the way you view yourself, which is like it's in the middle of the spectrum of good and bad. Because I feel like everybody has some insecurities, like all of us do. It's a very normal thing to do that, have those. But I feel like our insecurities are also kind of like exaggerated versions of our perceived flaws. They are all like just manifestations of our brain. I mean, if I'm insecure about something, I myself will view that as like such a worse version of what it actually is. I mean, if I feel like I look bad in a picture, again, the same example. If I feel like I look bad in a picture, I am definitely not looking as bad as I think I am. Because when somebody else will look at the picture and they just be like, wow, that's just a normal picture. I once came across this video where there was a woman like posing, and she was like, I wonder how long will it take for people to point this insecurity of mine out in this specific video. And I watched the video so many times, I just never found it. And that just means that the good thing is, you probably do view yourself as a very flawed person, but others will view you as like the 10 times more subtle version of what it actually is. And that also is the realer version. Even if you view yourself as a very exaggerated, flawed version of what you really are, others never will. I feel like I think of this a lot. I think of this so much every time I feel insecure or embarrassed about something I did or said. I think about this so much because I don't think it bothers people as much as it will bother me. So it's like a great thing. The third thing I learned was that you're not try hard if it makes you happy. Now, this can apply to anything. It can apply to the way you dress, the way you talk, if you're like really excited about something. I feel like people lately have become so like against the idea of being happy about something. Like, I don't think there's anything such as overdressed. If you really like what you're wearing, if you feel like confident when you're going out in a certain outfit with a certain like whole thing going on, it's perfectly fine. I mean, there are no rules if you like feel happy about something. If you feel confident, that's all that matters. Sometimes I see people being like so hateful towards people because of them being excited or overjoyed about something. And I find that extremely unsettling because how can you be mad or disappointed because somebody is happy? I feel like today people hate seeing others happy or themselves happy. If you're really looking forward to something, you are allowed to be happy about it. It doesn't matter if others do not share your joy or if others find it stupid. You're not being a tryhard as long as you're genuine. I don't really think it matters. It's all like good energy. The fourth thing that I learned was that it's perfectly okay to take a break. I have always been extremely achievement oriented. I don't know where it comes from. That's just how I've been all my life. And I understand that it's hard to stop when you're constantly afraid that you will miss out on what could have been. I mean, but look at it this way, like there's no way you would never like miss out on anything and you will experience everything. I mean, that's just not possible. There always will be something you miss out on. So instead of like putting yourself through that risk of a burnout or chasing superficial goals, it will like ultimately become useless if you don't even have the energy to savor what you worked so hard for. Like when you finally reach your destined goals and you're like, I made it, but you're so exhausted already, it doesn't really matter if you did. Because that has happened to me, and I've seen that happen to so many people. And it's just like the saddest thing ever. So I feel like you must sit, relax, breathe, and really evaluate where you're going with your life and what you're doing, and just like realize and accept the fact that you do need a break sometimes and take it, no matter how impossible it seems or how difficult it seems or how much fear you hold in about losing something because of it. You never will lose as much as you will lose if you burn out. So it's always better to just stop sometimes. Fifth thing that I learned was that if you mess up a friendship or a relationship, but you learn from it, you're not a bad person. I feel like we forget that everybody makes mistakes as soon as we make one. It's honestly very obvious that when you interact with so many people and form a bond or relationship with them, you will mess up in some situations because there's no way you'll get everything right. And when that happens, you become so like unforgiving of yourself, and you constantly blame yourself. And I feel like that's not good for you, because usually when you realize that you made a mistake, especially in a situation where your interference or some of your actions messed up a relationship or a friendship that was yours or somebody else's, if you like really take the time out to analyze what happened and find whatever mistakes you made and try to work on them, you are a good person. You're not a bad person. You're not a jerk. The only case scenario where you probably are not the best person is when you forget the fact that you can also be at fault sometimes. And you don't care about other people, or whether they felt hurt by your actions. You just like play the victim, or you blame somebody else for the wrongdoings that you were responsible for. That is when you're like not a decent person. Other than that, I feel like trying to evaluate a situation, trying to find where you can improve yourself, trying to fix it, or trying to like never repeat it. All of these are like automatically the things bad people never do. So the fact that you even made the effort to do it makes you a good person. The sixth thing that I learned was that it's not right to blame yourself for everything. Sometimes you just don't make it, or you just don't hit the mark, or you just don't reach your goals. But that doesn't make you a complete and utter failure. You can like fail once, twice, even thrice, more times, but that doesn't mean you'll never ever be successful, like in anything that you've committed yourself to. If you like didn't study hard enough for a test, or if you studied really hard but you didn't get a good score or the score that you wanted, that doesn't mean that you'll never score good on a test again. I mean, as long as you understand where are you making a mistake, or what are you doing wrong, or what you should be doing differently, you are already on the right path, because people take out the time to analyze what they've been doing wrong and change their methods or ways when they try again. And that is why they get, make it the first, the second, or third time. The thing is that if you've been doing everything right, and if you've been giving something your best and failing, maybe like the first couple of times, you still will get another go at it. So instead of like sitting in the guilt or self-loathe and being like, I failed, or I did something horribly and I deserve this, or whatever, just know that just keep trying until you feel like you have reached whatever you wanted to. You're not a failure if you failed the first time or the second time, even like after it. You're not a failure if you feel like others are ahead of you. You can't try to like compare other people's progress with yours, because you don't know what type of effort are they putting in, or how long have they putting how long have they been putting that effort in. So like, I know that self-loathe comes when you compare yourself to other people and feel like you're way behind them. But remember that this is like your own journey to something that you've always wanted, and so you have to do it your own way and at your own pace, and you will get whatever you want if you work hard enough, if you believe yourself. The seventh thing: don't be afraid of confrontation. When it comes to fight, flight, and freeze, I am a huge flight person. I will do anything to avoid confrontation, even if it has like bad consequences. I would much rather just stay silent for as long as I can, for as long as it's like possible. And that is not a good thing, because it's like always worse to sit in the dread or the procrastination of it all. It's like not really worth it. So like if you've done something stupid, or like lied about something, or started a rumor, forgotten something, ruined something, or if you've like been putting off something, just go ahead and do it. Like get it done with. Because the more you let this stuff pile up, it will like heap up on you, and you'll regret it. You'll regret not being honest about it sooner, because it's like better if you don't let all these things marinate in your brain and just get them out as soon as possible, because that's when the chances of these things getting better are much higher. The more time you spend worrying about when, how, or where to do it, the more the issue will increase. So it's better to just not be scared of this. Because consequences for something bad you do are inevitable. It's better to just like get through it as soon as you possibly can. That's like how I've started thinking. The eighth and the last thing for today kind of like hits close to home. Being basic is fine. I feel like this is like not talked about enough, but social media has made it like seem like the very idea of not being like everybody else or standing out is the only way you're allowed to exist. That's the only way you're fun, outgoing, interesting to be around. But I don't feel like that's true. It's like everybody's chasing after this non existent idea of uniqueness, because, as a matter of fact, nobody is entirely ever the same. Like, no two people have every single like trait of them being exactly similar. So, uniqueness is embedded in us for since the very first day. So, why are we in this rat race running after something we already have in us? We already are unique, and we always have been. I feel like people have become so resentful of liking things that many people like because it's basic or predictable or mainstream. But maybe many people like something because it actually is good, it's actually is entertaining. You're allowed to like Taylor Swift, for example. You don't have to like underground artists if you enjoy Taylor Swift, if you enjoy like big mainstream popular artists. That's not bad at all. It's fine, if your favorite color is like pink or black, or if your favorite painting is the Mona Lisa, it's fine, because these things are not bad. Just because something is common, just because something is like widely loved or termed as basic, doesn't mean it's wrong or bad. However, like even if you have like different opinions or unpopular opinions on something, opinions that you don't share with many people, it's also fine, as long as you're like honest to yourself and you talk of what you really think. You don't have to worry about having predictable choices, because for all I know, that's like a good trait. Many people do view it as a good trait when you're predictable, when you're easy to get along with. And I feel like the term basic bitch is like such a misleading term, because what is wrong with that? It's like you're only a cool person if you're different than everybody else, but I feel like everybody is already different, so there's no point trying to be something you're not just for that sake. It's like a very misleading idea that we have like now developed, that has like now developed as a very popular notion in our heads, and we subconsciously keep trying to be unique even when we don't really feel that way about something. On that note, I think this is going to be it for today, and I'm going to be talking about the next 8 things in the episode next week. Until then, I hope you have a great week. This was Lakshita from Everything I've Never Said. I'll see you next week. Bye.